Hello everyone, welcome again to the channel. Today I want to continue with the Gnosis course, and this lesson today is lesson number 7. So let's get started. So today we are going to discuss about the 3 consciousness revolution factors. So these factors are what make the Gnosis actually revolutionary, what makes it different. And we call it revolutionary because if you remember probably the first lesson, the first episode of this series, I was talking about the mechanical factors of the human existence and the path that our being goes through, and including of course evolution, involution. So we go through the different kingdoms, and this is considered mechanical. And if you remember this lecture, on this lesson we saw the fact that we are trapped in this cycle unless we change something. So evolution will never change the nature of our soul, will never change the nature of our spirit. So if we do nothing, we will be kind of victims, let's say, of the evolution, victims of the involution, and evolution will never help us reach the consciousness. The freedom of our consciousness will never allow us, will only help us to continue the cycle and nothing else. So if we want to become free of this cycle, of this mechanical process, we need to jump out of evolution, involution, and go beyond that. So that is basically the concept of revolution. The concept of revolution from the point of view of Gnosis is to go beyond, break free from the cycle of evolution, involution, and stop repeating the same things over and over. So the essential elements to change our lives are within our grasp, and yet they are revolutionary in nature because they go against the common things accepted by the world. Is what everyone is doing, what 99% of the people is doing. That's what is commonly accepted. So this goes against that, goes against the grain, as people say. So the majority of humans don't want to change. They just want material things, pleasure, and are usually not interested in doing the things needed to wake up. This is somehow reflected in what some people call the matrix. So we are trapped in this kind of a simulation in this world, which is somehow a reflection of the projection of our own desires, of our own minds, of our own limitations, and is really, in a sense, from the point of view of the spirit, is not even real. So that's why somehow some people that tend to think about the human life as some kind of a simulation, as not real, they're not really very far from what the Gnosis says. Only they use, of course, different terms. They use probably technology or scientific terms, but in the end is the same result. We are sleeping, and we are not aware that we are sleeping. We are living in a dream-like life where we repeat everything over and over without even paying attention to what is happening, just following some program, like some kind of robots, let's say. So we are just slaves to this system. So this is what Gnosis wants to do. Gnosis wants to free us from this stage, from this current state in which we are currently as humans. So this path is not for everyone. is actually only for a very few who are willing to become warriors and fight for the right to become superhumans, this is the promise that Gnosis is giving us. If we follow this path, we will achieve superhuman status. So let's talk about the three factors of the consciousness revolution. And they are very simple factors. We already discussed all of these in previous episodes, so this is somehow a summary, so you will kind of understand how all the episodes that we mentioned before fall into place. And they are called, the first is the conscious death as compared to unconscious death. So it's also opposed to the second death. Second death, according to philosophy, is when we finally reach complete destruction in the mineral kingdom. If you remember when we were talking about the wheel of samsara, so when we go down the path of involution and we reach the furthest point in the bottom of the samsara wheel, that's when we reach the second death. That's when all the ultimate part of our spirit that was still not free will become free of all the egos, the hardest egos. So that's when we become born again. But this born again process is unconscious. So the nature is doing it for us, and we're not even aware of what is happening. We don't have memories of what happened, and it's completely out of our control. So as part of this, we are going to do the death, we are going to do conscious this death. And I'm going to explain a bit more how this is done. And of course, we are referring to the second birth or to the rebirth. And this goes against comparing to the normal birth, which everyone in this earth was born at one point from our mother. And this birth is again mechanical. It's a mechanical process. It's out of our control. We don't even remember. We do it without participating willfully in it. So the second birth will become a conscious birth. And the third factor is the sacrifice for humankind. So this is the first time we're going to mention this one, so we will talk a little bit more in detail about it. The first one is conscious death, and this relates to the episodes when we were talking about self-awareness, self-observation, and ego death. If you remember, self-awareness is this practice where we're trying to stay conscious of our own self. So we're trying to become aware of our surroundings. We try to pay attention to where we are, who we are, what are we doing in this place, to somehow stop the mechanical process of just going through life without any particular awareness. And we also do self-observation. If you remember self-observation, this practice is about paying attention to our thoughts, our feelings, emotions, sensations, physical sensations, and try to pay attention to what we are doing. So this self-observation is helping us to discover the source of our pain. What kind of pain? Well, actually, pain in any form. It can be even physical pain, because the natural state, the normal state of humans is to live without pain. And every pain that we have is actually the result of an error. From the most basic point, The human body, for example, tends to have homeostasis, and this is a process where the body is able to self-repair. So if there is some kind of injury, the body in the ideal condition should be able to heal this injury. Or if we have a particular imbalance in our body, the body itself should be able to fix it, and we should all experience and live and enjoy perfect health. This is natural, but actually in our current state, most people are experiencing some kind of pain, some kind of disease. So some of the systems, or many of the systems in our physical body, are not working as they should. And according to the Gnosis, this is a consequence of errors, psychological errors that cause imbalance in our emotions, and the emotions in turn impact the normal functioning or our bodily functions. And that's why this emotional imbalance will cause disease and will cause pain. And we are going to resolve or solve all these with the ego death, which is a practice that we already analyzed in one of the previous lessons. So this is a summary of the process of conscious death, but all these three factors, let's say, complement each other. But this is the one that we already analyzed in previous lessons, so this is something we already know how to do. And if we do this responsibly and consistently through our life, we will experience the benefits of this. So our emotional pain will become less, and we will also experience better health, physical health, not only mental health, but health also in our bodies. So this is going to be reflected in a positive way in our existence. The second birth, which we already mentioned, also is all the actions that are leading to creating our soul, our spirit, and to wake up our consciousness. So we already talked about sexual alchemy or sexual transmutation, rebirth, and of course we also mentioned meditation. So all these practices and exercises that we do that somehow help us to awake our consciousness and to create our soul and our spirit, to do sexual transmutation and actually change our nature to a superior nature. This is considered the second birth. And we already went into detail into what this entails. So if you haven't seen these lessons, you can go back and find them. And of course, you can ask any questions if you have. And the third one is the sacrifice for humankind. This is the first time we talk about this subject. And this is actually, let's say, like a bonus. You can achieve self-realization just following the first two. So if you do conscious death and you do second birth, you will achieve emancipation, you will be fully liberated, you will become a superhuman completely. And so the sacrifice for humankind, which is the third factor, is not actually for everyone. Even though we know that by intuition we know that these two factors are already hard enough and difficult enough. It's very difficult to do this every day, to do conscious death every day. It's difficult to achieve the second birth, but this one is the third factor is actually not necessary, if that makes sense. So even people who achieve the status of superhuman, sometimes they choose not to do the sacrifice for humankind because it is more work. and some people are not interested, and you cannot blame anyone. You cannot force anyone. This is something that should come out of your own self. And what is the significance of the sacrifice for humankind? Some people have this empathy that they want to help others. So the way that the sacrifice for humankind is done is you're showing the way to others. Which way? The Gnostic way. And you're helping those who are also willing. But you're also helping people to achieve the first two factors. So let's say you find someone who is interested in this, so you're helping them to work on themselves, to find the way to achieve conscious death. You help someone who is interested in second birth, and so you teach them how to achieve second birth. So you are actually teaching people. And you are also spreading this knowledge, and this is actually done out of love, because there is no reward on its own, but usually there is this how to say inside benefit that you become a master. So you will achieve mastery in a way because you're teaching the way. So you already are doing it. You are also working on it. You're at the same time doing your conscious death practice, your second birth exercise, and you decide, oh, I'm going to teach others because I want to help others along the way. I want to share my knowledge. I want to share this knowledge that I already know. So I'm going to help someone achieve the same kind of benefits that are part of this Gnostic revolution. So the three factors as a whole are required to achieve the mastery, but it is actually very difficult. So the path is narrow, steep, and difficult. It's possible for those who are willing to do what is required, but like I said, it's not absolutely mandatory. So only for those few who actually are interested, especially in the third factor, they are the ones, the very few, who will actually achieve the mastery. And to finish this lesson, there is this invitation to be brave, because we're fighting against demons, and these demons are inside of us. So they are our own demons, but there are also external factors. So what we have inside, it is also outside, and this is an axiom that yes, exactly like it is here, it is in the bigger realms. So what is inside of us is also outside in the universe. So that's all I wanted to say for now. I hope you enjoyed the lesson, and I want to remind you again about the opportunity to help me support my work as content creator. In the description section of each episode, I include information about different platforms you can use to support me with donations if you want to. You can also share this episode in social media, and subscribe. I hope to see you again very soon. Thank you for watching.